I'm seeing in hindsight, missions prepared me for entrepreneurship. You were responsible for financing what you were doing. So I had to learn how to raise financial support and get a team of people to support me. And for me, it's also another kind of mission. But the faith-based mission approach, mindset, is the same mindset that you need to become a successful entrepreneur. So I did not know where the funds was coming from. I had to go out and get enough supporters that I could get monthly financial support. And so it is as an entrepreneur, you don't know where the funds coming from. You have to find the funds, do the work, and you have to go and find the clientele enough to support you so that it can be sustainable. And it's a journey of faith. Greetings, Apreneurs. Welcome to the Authorpreneur Secrets podcast, the show that uncovers the secrets to win with books beyond book sales and dominate authorpreneurship. Through exclusive author interviews, stories, and must-have resources, you will discover some of the secrets and strategies to thrive with books and generate lasting income. I invite you to become an Authorpreneur ambassador and join me in my mission to raise up 10,000 Caribbean entrepreneurs by 2030. Spread the word about the podcast and encourage more people to increase their impact and income with books beyond book sales. Without further ado, let's get into the show. Let's get into lessons learned on my entrepreneurship journey over the last 10 years. Now, to do that, I have to give you context. I was a missionary serving with Operation Mobilization before becoming an entrepreneur. So I didn't understand anything about business. And growing up in church, generally, at least in my context, business and money, that doesn't sit well with a lot of people. So I am beginning this business journey with a handicap. As a matter of fact, as I was doing my dissertation proposal, there's a book that I read by well-known Christian author and theologian Wayne Grudem called Business for the Glory of God. And he highlights the poor mindset of the church towards business when he writes, when people ask how their lives can glorify God, they aren't usually told, go into business. When someone explains to a new acquaintance, I work in such and such a business, he doesn't usually hear the response, what a great way to glorify God. And so this was a struggle for me. I had to do a thorough search of the scriptures concerning business, money, wealth. I had to fix my money mindset. So that's number one. If you're a Christian entrepreneur, you have to fix your money mindset. And along the journey, one of my business coaches at the first Caribbean Authorpreneur Summit, she said, you have to make up your mind that you're in business to make money. You have to understand that what the Bible condemns is the love of money. When you're obsessed with money, it can lead you on the wrong path. And the truth is, if your focus is on money, very often you lose your way. So you have to have a bigger purpose and understand that money is just the tool. So I had to fix my money mindset. And Nerissa Golden, one of my business coaches, she in fact had a webinar called Fix Your Money Mindset. And that for me was a big turning point, but I had to study my way through, and thank God for my university. Thank God for this doctorate, which has been a major part of shaping me and training me to be successful in business. I was able to see business as missions. And through the course, the theology of work, organizational assessment, working with one of my professors who was a leadership guru to understand business. Baki Graduate University, BGU, has really helped me to understand business because the school's foundation is business and theology. one of the founding brothers, owned one of the largest electrical power company in the world. That was Dennis Bakke, and he was a billionaire and a Christian. And so his books on business really help that you can be a Christian and have a profitable, solid business and remain on the narrow path. So that really, really helped. BGU really helped. So the first thing I learned is that you really have to fix your money mindset. That's one of the big lessons. You have to learn to balance purpose and profit. So I'm going to read something here. Van Duzer and Grudem, along with other writers, show that while the scripture cautions against the misuse of wealth and money, it doesn't forbid the acquisition of both of them. They argue that business, wealth, and money are not inherently sinful or evil. So my new mission, therefore, God was calling me to become a marketplace minister, and books would be the means. So one of the things I learned in my studies is that a lot of Jesus's ministry took place in the marketplace. One of the authors that really helped me is Stevens. I can't remember his first name, but he has several books that talk about the theology of work. And he says that of Jesus's 132 public appearances in the New Testament, 122 took place in the marketplace, and 45 of the 52 parables Jesus told had a workplace context. George Seraphim, in his book Purpose and Profit, asserts it's time to move past the simplistic caricature that running a business for profit will make a person a greedy automan who cares only about getting rich and not about making the world a better place. So I wanted the world to be a better place. I want to help people. I want to do poverty alleviation, and business has been proven to be a mechanism for poverty alleviation. So when I learned these things and I saw that business is ministry, because without businesses, how would people get jobs? So business create jobs, and nobody has a problem with jobs. Of course, business, like anything else, can be exploited, and we know the stories, and very often it's the bad that is highlighted. So he says it's time to move past the view that if you are on a mission to do social good, you've got to take a vow of poverty. And as a missionary, I remember one of my missionaries asked me, why are missionaries poor? And a lot of the missionaries that I worked with were serving in poor conditions. And it was almost as if we took a vow of poverty and felt like poverty was piety. And so the method of missions, depending on support and the generosity of others, it kind of sometimes creates or engenders a poverty mindset. So for me, one of the shifts was seeing and his example inspired my business, and why I wanted to be in business was when in 2013, when I was in Namibia, is this missionary from South Africa who blended business and missions perfectly. And his business was his mission. So he was an architect and he built apartments, and he used 60% of the profit to fund the mission work of working with the orphans and the good work and the different projects. And I wanted to do something similar. And that for me came through books. So I wanted to do good. I wanted to support missionaries. I wanted to support nonprofits. I wanted to help more people to get tertiary education. And I wanted a business that would do that, and a business that would support the advancement of the kingdom. So business for missions and business as mission. And so that was the background and the thinking behind it. I was no architect, but God turned me into an author. So on Sunday, I shared my story about the name of the business, Extra Mile Innovators. That came out of my own pain. My Extra Mile Innovators, I registered it in 2015 as Extra Mile Innovators and Extra Mile Initiatives. And in 2014, I had what I call my design to win, a 10-page plan that chronicled how the business I would start and the missions that I would do, and books were a pivotal part of that. So when I registered Extra Mile Innovators, the description of the business says writing books, motivational speaking, personal development coaching, and business and entrepreneurial management services, business and management consultancy, farm management, activities of authors, novelists, and playwrights. And that's certainly what I've been doing in the past 10 years. One of our books was converted to a play. Even though I ran away from publishing novels, we publish novels. I have my own novella as well. And we do consultancy. I've done the personal development coaching. And so this is a big deal. Most persons who start a business, or most startups, don't pass 5 years. So to have to 10 years in business is a big deal. But the thing is that the missionary mindset also helped me, because as a missionary, I had to find my own financial support. And so that mindset I took over into this. I was used to starting things without money. I understood what it was to function without money. And so not having money and having to go get the money was something that I was used to as a missionary. And it came over. But it was still painful, right? But when I understood that you can have purpose and profit, it changed everything, that it was okay to profit. So a big lesson there: fix your money mindset and balance purpose and profit. So I am convinced, like Seraphim, that social entrepreneurship is the best way forward in solving the worst social ills. And so wealth creation and the pursuit of business is not evil. And the scriptures tells us that Paul said in Timothy, command those who are rich in this present age not to be haughty, not to trust in uncertain riches, but in the living God who gives us richly all things to enjoy. And that command those who are rich, that's the mindset that they should have, and that they should do good. Let the Lord be magnified, who has pleasure in the prosperity of his servant. Psalm 35:27. And then the big one in Deuteronomy 8, remember the Lord your God. It is he who gives you the power to be successful, or the power to get wealth. So it comes from God, but you can't put your trust in the thing, but in God. Another scripture that helped me was Proverbs 31, about the excellent woman. She makes her business ventures profitable. And so I learned that God is not against profit. But it took me a long time. So I had to fix my money mindset. I had to balance purpose and profit, right? And as part of the Lausanne Covenant, they talked about the role of wealth creation for holistic transformation. And they had a declaration in March 2017 that spoke to that, that encouraged and urged the church to embrace wealth creation as central to our mission of holistic transformation of peoples and societies. Wow. So that was deliverance. So in terms of purpose and profit too, I wanted to just help everybody. And so because I didn't understand the perfect balance between purpose and profit, I wasn't charging and I wasn't pricing for profit. So you have to learn to price for profit. So when I started out in the initial stage, because I had learned to publish on a budget, I was just helping everybody to publish on a budget, and I didn't have a markup for my knowledge, for my understanding. I wasn't reserving a portion for myself, or a big enough portion. And so you have to price for profit, right? Another lesson that I had to learn is you have to choose your audience. You have to know who you want to serve. And it was through business coaching that I learned that, because I wanted to help everybody. So what I had to do in my mind is to separate, quote unquote, what would be my ministry endeavors and what would be my money endeavors. So there are certain things that I did not necessarily for profit. It was just ministry. So after a while, my Design to Win roadmap, I just started using that. I call that my ministry. And so I wouldn't charge a lot for that program. I used to charge a lot for it in the beginning, but this was something I was just passionate about. So the books Designed to Win roadmap had helped me. And so I would help people to plan their lives and to design their winning future for free. And I remember the last program I did, it was like $10 a month for 6 months. That's not a lot, because to me that was like my ministry. And what I did in terms of ministry, because I went into debt and I didn't want others to go into debt, I created the cost-effective means for persons to publish. And so I wanted to cater to those who had money and those who had no money. And so the Authorpreneur Secrets Academy that was created was to facilitate those who are struggling financially to still be able to publish, because publishing is expensive and it can be prohibitive. And so I created that. And I use kind of like a plane analogy. When you're going on a plane, we're all getting to the same destination, but you have coach, you have business class, and you have first class or premium class. And so I model my business after that. And a Christian entrepreneur that has helped me on the journey, apart from my coaches, Nerissa Golden and Henika Watkins Porter, is Graham Cochran. And now he has built $2 million businesses, and he used to be on food stamps. But the way how Graham explains things really helped me. And so you have to have those success models. And Graham Cochran really, really, really helped me. Given that he's a Christian, his examples, one of the things he said, that many times you're doing these things and you're doing this thing and you really don't understand what you're doing. And a lot of people would tell you that it's all experimental. You have to embrace experimentation, a mindset of experimenting. But it was challenging, you know, wanting to serve everybody. You have to choose an audience. So I had my money things, and it was Graham who explained to me that you should have like 3 levels how to do these things. So I have my coach, which is Authorpreneur Secrets Academy, where we help you to publish for less than $1,000 or $1,000 or less, publish on a budget. And then we have Bamboo Sparks, which is premium pricing for us in the Caribbean region, right? So we start services as 2,500 US dollars, which is like high ticket for us. And so I had to embrace that Lydia mindset. Again, I tell you, my business principles come from the Bible. So Lydia was a woman in the Bible who was selling purple cloth, and she became a Christian. Now, back then, purple cloth was only for the wealthy, the aristocracy. Not everybody could afford purple cloth, and it was illegal in some jurisdictions to even wear anything purple. And so Lydia was in a high ticket business, purple cloth. And so you will see in my videos and everything that I have purple cloth up, because God had to teach me that I am valuable and it's okay to offer a premium package and business. Lydia did it, and so can I. So that's what the purple is about. It was about understanding my value and that it is okay to offer premium price services, and that I have value. There's a lot loaded into that. If you read my book, Unshackled Queen, I talk about it, and other books I talk about it. But that really helped me. And so I also have scholarships that I do. And there are certain books that I publish for certain persons for free. So I had to find the balance. How do I help those who have no money like I did to publish? And how do I also work with those who can pay and want to pay? Because some persons, if you're not charging high for your service, they don't think it is valuable. So how do I do all of that? And so I structure the business like that. So you have to know who your audience is. But it took me a long time. Your personal growth, this is another big lesson. Your personal growth and your business growth are interconnected. As I grew to understand my value and my self-worth as a person, the business also grew because I struggled with self-worth. I didn't understand the value of what I was doing. I didn't understand the value of a book. And because I just wanted to help everybody, I didn't understand profit. So you have to price for profit, and you have to build the business in a way that it kind of fits your philosophy and mission. So I hope that will help. So I did some things for money, and some things was just mission. And that's how I got around it. That is how I did the buckets in order to move forward. And the other thing is that you have to create recurring revenue. And so what I learned is that if I put people on a monthly payment plan, that created recurring revenue. And I had to learn to not be afraid to ask for money when people owed me, to remind them. Those are some of the lessons. I had to remind them. And sometimes when they didn't want to pay, I had to put systems in place. For example, I put in our contracts that we won't upload a book to Amazon if you don't pay. So you have to pay it off before we put it up. Now, that's simply common sense, but that came out of me doing work and people didn't want to pay. And that came out of also a dream that the Lord showed me stuff. So I get dreams. As I pray, I will be up all night and God will just give me ideas. So almost everything I do in my business has come out of prayer. It is my times of prayer. And I'm not ashamed to talk about it. I'm different. So I know with this podcast, my audience is wide. Some of you don't believe in God, atheists, non-Christian, different people listen, but this is who I am. And this is how this business has been built and sustained. And so in our company, we tend to have these prayer times because as we come together to pray, as we pray, we get insights and ideas and solutions. So it's now a thing for us. Whenever there's a crisis and we pray, we find solutions, which is not just crisis. It is, I pray about everything. And as I pray, ideas come, and I would be writing pages on top of pages on top of pages, who to hire, how to create the programs, all the stuff, pages on top of pages through the prayer session. So business for God's glory, that's what this is all about. And so he has to lead me in the same way that God showed Jacob a strategy and ended up, while he was building his uncle's business, he was building his own empire. He got the idea of what to do to create more streaked goats in a dream, in a vision. And that's what happens to me as well. So don't leave God out. All right. So balance purpose and profit. I said, choose your audience, know who you serve. You can't be trying to serve everybody. You have to learn that business, being a Christian and being in business and making money are not sinful. I had to learn that. I learned also the value of a team, believe me. And that came through a dream as well as I was seeking God. And the story of lions versus tigers. Now, tigers are strong, solitary creature. But they tend to isolate themselves. Lions live in a pride. It's not the strongest, but it's the king of the jungle. And so I had to shift from being a solopreneur to having a team. And that shift wasn't easy because I like doing things my way. But I found that having a team helped me. For one, people tend to give you more respect. When I show up at a consultation by myself, I can get the job done and sometimes not done. But when I show up as a team, it carries more weight. There were certain decisions that hadn't I run it by a team, it would have been disastrous. And together, everyone achieves more. So as a solopreneur in the business, 2015 to 2020 to November 2021, I could manage about 10 clients. And then I kept getting more clients and I was getting burnt out. So I needed help. And that's when I incorporated and I prayed about the team to join me. And I have great business partners. Within our first year, we had tripled the number of clients. So one way to really grow is to have a team. And I can't tell you how many times the team has helped. When we need capital injection, the team, so many things, the team. So together, everyone achieves more. And Dr. Darius Daniels, who is a pastor and business person or entrepreneur, he says, in life, you don't go as far as your dream, you go as far as your team. And I have seen that. So get a team. The other lesson I learned is to embrace struggle as part of the normal course of being an entrepreneur. In the beginning, because things were slow and you don't know where the money is coming from to pay the bills, and because there were financial challenges, I felt like I was doing something wrong. There's a lot of things that I had to figure out and reiterate, learning how to communicate what I was doing, learning how to price for profit, learning how to put the packages together, losing money. I have lost millions, made mistakes that have cost me millions of dollars, Jamaican dollars on the journey. And we've made millions of Jamaican dollars on the journey, right? If we add it up over the years, yeah, more than 6 figures, so we could call ourselves a 6-figure company. Over the past 10 years, I've built a 6-figure company, but 7-figure in Jamaican dollars, right? Because we're earning millions annually in Jamaican dollars. And because I made mistakes, because it took a while for things to take off, I felt I was doing something wrong. I felt alone. I felt stupid. And it discouraged me. And that's why we use our symbol of the bamboo. And when we incorporated and became Extra Mile Innovators Limited and Bamboo Sparks, it was based on the Chinese bamboo tree story, where the Chinese bamboo tree, it stays underground for 5 years. And then within 6 weeks, it grows 90 feet tall. It's a symbol that, yeah, it takes long. Success is not overnight, and you have to stay the course to bear the fruit, because ordinary fruit trees, not the ones that, they mess with, is around about the 5-year mark or sometimes 4.5 years before they begin to bear fruit. And so it was. And so because I didn't have enough models and I wasn't listening to enough entrepreneur stories, I really felt like a failure, that I wasn't doing well. It wasn't until I published Javed Nixon's book, or worked with him, that I came to understand that struggle is part of the course, and that success is incremental, and success equals multiple failures over and over, that I found a sense of peace. And when I read stories like, I know it's controversial now, but Elon Musk stories, the Calendly guy story, the Canva lady story, and recognize that, Walt Disney and others went bankrupt. And so whenever I would lose money and have to start over, I would remember these guys, and realize that, yeah, it's part of the course. Entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. It takes a lot of faith. It takes grit. It takes perseverance. And that was something I always struggled with. I always want to escape from problems, not face my problems. But by the grace of God, He has caused me to develop perseverance. We're still here, right? 10 years in. And so things will change. You have to pivot along the journey, and it's okay to pivot. It's okay that some things work and some things don't. Okay, so don't kill yourself when things don't work. See it as a learning experience, not losses, but lessons. And there have been some painful lessons along the journey. I had to learn to set boundaries and develop protocols and systems. You have to develop your own onboarding processes and how you will deal with clients. Given my personality as an introvert, online business best suit me, because I don't like answering the phone. I don't take well to random calls. And so I had to build a business that could work with my personality. So the fact that you can go online and book a session, or the text messages and so forth. And then the business itself, the kind of work we do require undisturbed moments. So in the initial stages, working with clients was challenging, because we know business about it. Just take up the phone, call a business place, and you just call at any time. That would drive me nuts. And it created a lot of distress for me. And so I had to find a business model that worked for me and worked with my personality. And online business was perfect as an introvert. And so the lesson there is, find a business model that will work for you and your way of being. And that's what I did. So you have to stay the course to see the fruit. Fix your money mindset, as I said. Another big thing was the accounts. In the first year, I made mistakes. So by 2019, when they brought the tax system online, I recognized that I had a lot of back taxes. I was in a whole heap of debt. And I was wondering how come, because I thought I was filing my taxes properly. But late filing and the penalties, ooh, thank God some of that was waived, but it took a long time. And so by 20, I think it's 2018, I got an accountant. And big up Jason Robinson. Thank you very much. You really, really helped me. And so get an accountant from early. Keep track of your numbers. Pay somebody to file your taxes each year, and don't make the mistake that I made trying to do it all on my own. And so those are some of the lessons that I learned on the journey. There are more, but I think those are the big ones, especially as a Christian entrepreneur. And I trust that these lessons will help you to become a winning entrepreneur, a winning author entrepreneur. And there's much more I could say, but then we don't want to be on this podcast for 5 hours. So that's it. So we take a break from the podcast. I'm going to miss you guys, but I'm in the middle of doing my dissertation research. There's a lot of data to collect. a lot of data to analyze. But the beautiful thing is, as I am going through the data and assessing, because part of it is also assessing my own entrepreneurship and authorpreneurial journey, the insights that I'm gaining is tremendous. So I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to what will emerge from this research, and how it will help with the goal of raising up 10,000 author entrepreneurs from the Caribbean entrepreneurs and in the diaspora by 2030. I'll have some exciting things planned for 2030. God willing, I'm alive and in good health. And so we take a break, and I hope when I come back, I will be able to say in October, I made it. This doctoral journey has been a 10-year journey now, just like this business journey. It has been a 10-year journey. I was accepted in 2015 to do my doctorate, but I didn't start until 2019. And I didn't see myself or embrace the entrepreneurship mindset until late 2018. And I wrote Authorpreneur Secrets in November 2018, started the Indie Authorpreneurs Group, published the Authorpreneur Secrets book in 2019, and started my doctoral courses in 2019. Little did I know that all of this was a setup for my doctorate. And so my work is my doctorate in a sense. And I'm looking forward to the analysis and the findings and what will emerge. And so this has turned out better than I dreamed. I didn't, as a young person, want to be in business. I didn't feel fit for business. And most creatives and authors wouldn't call themselves business person. In fact, I remember one pastor telling me that he didn't see me as a business person. Well, look at me now. Look at me now. And then I couldn't explain to persons, they say, are you still doing missions? Because like I said, many Christians don't see business as missions, but I saw this as my new missions. Every book that is published is a mini startup, right? But every book that is published, especially by Christian, for me, is the start of a new ministry. It's book to ministry. That's my way of raising up more missionaries. Every author for me is a missionary. Become a sent one because your book gives you a platform. And so for me, there was no dichotomy. And it was through Bucky Graduate University that I came to understand it perfectly. So I am elated. I'm grateful for BGU, this 10-year journey at BGU, or with BGU, has also been my 10-year author entrepreneurship journey. And truly, 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 this has been better than I dreamed. So if you want to hear more from me weekly, well, you can join the Better Than I Dream book club on May 26th. I'll still be posting on YouTube. We just won't be having the weekly podcast. And I want to thank all the persons who have graced the podcast. And so it's October to May is when the podcast runs. So we're at the end of this season, and it has been a good run. I've learned so much, and it has caused me to grow as an author entrepreneur. And so see you guys for the next season. Remember, of making many books, there is no end. So go pen it to win it and dominate authorpreneurship. Ta for now, until next time.
Your book is the perfect spark to get the fire going in your personal life, career, business, or ministry. Light that book spark today.